We're sharing images of the 3 terrorists who butchered 28 innocents in Pahalgam in Jammu and Kashmir. These, according to sources, are Pakistani terrorists. Of course, there were also local handlers. There's some information that's there in public domain, some that details are still awaited. This matter is currently under investigation. From what sources are telling India Today's team of reporters on ground zero, one of the terrorists who was involved in the killing is Asif Fauji. He's a former Pakistan Army regular, a part of the SSG commandos of the Pakistan Army, now retired, part of that hybrid terror group. The second is Suleiman Shah. Suleiman Shah is a Lashkar-e-Taiba terrorist, again a Pakistani working in India as a recruiter and part of the new name that's been given to Lashkar-e-Taiba terrorists in India so that they can avoid global scrutiny, called the Resistance Front, an attempt to give a secular non-Islamist name to Lashkar-e-Taiba. The third is Abu Talha. That again is the face of terror on your television screen in those pictures accessed by India Today. Information that we have is these 3 Pakistani terrorists had local support. They had been in India for some time and had been hiding in the forest. They've been crisscrossing this area. They were involved, or at least they're suspected to have been involved in an earlier attack on the security forces. They managed to dodge the security forces. Then they escaped to South Kashmir, and then they came back to that area of South Kashmir to carry out another terror attack, and this time in Pahalgam. They'd been sent to India to prepare a force that would target the Amarnath Yatra beginning the 3rd of July. Now, these terrorists used assault rifles to shoot tourists at point blank range. In about an hour from now, just about an hour from now, Prime Minister Narendra Modi will chair a crucial meeting of the Cabinet Committee on Security. So Union Home Minister Amit Shah, who's just returned from Kashmir, Defence Minister Rajnath Singh, External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar, and Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman, who incidentally again has cut short her visit to the United States of America and Peru. She too is on her way back to India. All of them will be a part of the CCS, and this is a very crucial meeting, because this is where there will be deliberations on how should India respond to Pakistan's state-sponsored radical Islamist terror that's been bleeding India for decades. And clearly, one Balakot is not enough. Balakot in 2019 had sent across a message that kept India safe for some time. But then, as many counter-terror analysts say, that terror and the state sponsors of terror need to be punished again and again and again till the time terror is no longer a low or a no-cost option for a Pakistan, a country which is a state sponsor of radical Islamist terror, not just in India but virtually across the globe. India Today has spoken to several eyewitnesses, and there are several eyewitness and survivor accounts that are now in public domain, and each story is more horrifying than the other. These were families in hundreds who were there in Pahalgam. And this part of the Pahalgam, these meadows, they are very, very beautiful. By many accounts, more beautiful than Switzerland. But unfortunately, it's the curse of that Pakistan state-sponsored radical Islamist terror. Now, families were describing that bright sunny day in the valley. Tourists were enjoying lovely weather, great food. They'd walked for about 45 minutes in some instances, an hour and a half in others. They got there. They were enjoying lush greenery in that area. They were seeing those wonderful tall deodar trees. And suddenly, amidst that happiness, amongst them were 3 terrorists who came from behind those trees. In one instance, they opened indiscriminate fire. The terrified people ran in one direction, and that is where they were cornered. They were made to sit down. They were segregated. Men were segregated from women. And then the terrorists started asking their names, checking their identity cards. And they figured out, they asked, are you Muslim? Are you not Muslim? They saw identity cards and in some instances killed people at point blank range. Some of those images are so horrifying, we can't even show you those images. Sadly, 28 lives were lost in this Pakistan state-sponsored radical Islamist terror. And amongst them were 3 men from the security forces. For example, Lieutenant Vinay Narwal, he was on vacation, he just got married, he was on his honeymoon. Or that intelligence bureau officer, Manish Ranjan, who was there with his entire family, with his children, with relatives. And that Indian Air Force corporal from Arunachal Pradesh, Tage Halyang. Now, he'd finished his tour of duty in Jammu and Kashmir and was on his way back to Arunachal Pradesh. He called his wife, "Come, let me show you paradise on earth." And it turned out to be a day in hell for these women when they saw their men being killed at point blank range. Prime Minister Narendra Modi, he cut short his trip to Saudi Arabia, and at 6 p.m, in less than an hour from now, he'll be chairing that very crucial Cabinet Committee on Security, and the entire country is waiting for India's response. Doesn't have to be immediate, but it has to be effective, demonstrative, punitive, and deterrent, so that that Pakistan state-sponsored, that military jihad complex doesn't dare to target India again. We get you more in this report.
Pahalgam, a tourist haven, turned into a graveyard after Pakistan-backed terrorists opened fire on unsuspecting tourists. The attack, meticulously planned, targeted Baisaran Valley, a non-motorable stretch, chosen with deadly precision. A place where tourists had no place to hide and where rescue efforts would be delayed. The massacre claimed 28 lives, leaving families shattered across India from Uttar Pradesh to Tamil Nadu. Among the victims were 3 serving security personnel. Lieutenant Vinay Narwal, just 26 years old and newly married, was killed in the Pahalgam terror attack while on a short break. His remains were brought to Delhi, where his inconsolable wife gave a tearful final salute to her fallen hero.
सोलह तारीख को शादी हुई थी उसकी मंसूरी के अंदर, डेस्टिनेशन शादी थी, और 19 तारीख को रिसेप्शन थी यहीं करनाल में, और 21 तारीख को फिर वो हनीमून के लिए निकल गए थे। 22 तारीख को ये हादसा हुआ जिसमें उनकी मौत हो गई है।
IB officer Manish Ranjan was shot dead in front of his wife and 2 children. The eldest of 3 brothers, his family now demands justice for a life taken too soon.
বন্ধু তুল্য মানে আমার ভাই তুল্য বন্ধু। আমরা একসাথে আমরা ক্রিকেট খেলেছি, এক খেলার মাঠে আমরা একসাথে ছিলাম। আমাদের পুরো সার্কেলটা ছিল একটা। এটা হারিয়ে আমরা খুব বড় একটা ক্ষতি পেয়েছি। আর এই যে ঘটনাটা ঘটেছে সেটা আমরা মানে কড়া নিন্দা করছি। এটা এত মানে দুর্ভাগ্যজনক ঘটনা, এত মানে লজ্জাজনক ঘটনা এটা। আমরা চাইবো যে ওখান থেকে আতঙ্কবাদী সাফায়া হোক। এভাবে চলবে না। দেশ এইভাবে চলবে না।
IAF Corporal Tej Halyang was reportedly stripped at gunpoint, and upon discovering his IAF ID, the terrorists executed him in front of his wife.
जम्मू से पोस्टेड होकर यहाँ में डिब्रूगढ़ में आपका फिर से रिपोस्टिंग के लिए वो जो आने वाला था, वो आने से पहले ये जो अपना मिसेस को लेकर वहाँ में साइट सीइंग के लिए कुछ 1-2 दिन वहाँ में टाइम बिताने के लिए उन दोनों जो प्लानिंग किया है, तो उसी समय में ये हादसा हो गया है।
What's most chilling is the precision of this attack. The terrorists asked for IDs, checked identities before pulling the trigger. They knew where, when and who, which points, to detailed planning, and raises troubling questions about local support.
उनके हाथ में गन्स थी, उन्होंने आके सीधा धमका के, जैसे 26/11 टेरर अटैक हुआ था ना सर, वैसे ही इधर आके धमका के वो गोली मार के निकल गए और भाग गए गोली मार के। पहले फायरिंग स्टार्ट हुई तो लोग जब भागना शुरू किया तब हमें पता चला कि लोग आ रहे हैं ऊपर से गोली लेके, गन लेके हाथ में।
क्या किसी लोकल लोगों को भी उन्होंने गोली मारी? क्या किसी लोकल लोगों को भी उन्होंने?
लोकल लोगों को नहीं, जो मुस्लिम नहीं है, जो हिंदू है, उनको ही गोली मारी है।
As the nation mourns, the call for justice grows louder. Bureau Report, India Today.
Not one, not two. There are multiple eyewitnesses, there are multiple survivors, whether they are from Uttar Pradesh or Maharashtra, whether they are from Haryana or Arunachal Pradesh or from Karnataka. Their stories are identical. Their accounts are identical. The men and women, they were segregated. The women were made to see. Their men were asked their names, told to show their identity cards, asked their religion. In case the answer was not Muslim, if they were Hindu, they were shot dead at point blank range. The women and children saw this in horror. Can you imagine? We just are reporting that story. You are hearing that story. They lived through it, and those images will stay with them for life. Breaking news that's coming in. That's a strong reaction that's coming in from Defence Minister Rajnath Singh. So Defence Minister Rajnath Singh, this is his first public response after the Pahalgam terror attack. He said, I'd like to reiterate India's firm resolve of a zero tolerance policy towards terror. Every citizen of India stands united against this cowardly act, this terror attack. And in the light of this incident, the government of India will take every necessary and appropriate step, is what he said. But he didn't just stop there. He then went on to say India will not just stop at those who carried out this terror attack, indicating that at least they will be brought to justice. But that's not all he said. He said India will also reach out to those who from behind the scenes were aiding and abetting this and were conspiring to carry out such a terror attack on Indian soil. We'll get you, we'll listen into what Raksha Mantri Rajnath Singh, Defence Minister Rajnath Singh said. There's more information that's coming in, and this is a very critical bit of information that's coming in. We are told that there is now a security realignment plan in the valley that is taking place. Authorities are working on a plan. And this is significant. This is significant because I'll tell you why there are those within our country who weakened our country's security grid. And I'll tell you how. But what is the government saying right now? That there's a new plan in place to fill that security vacuum with permanent deployment of army and central armed police forces and paramilitary forces in the mountains overlooking this tourist destination in the Kashmir Valley. Officials have told India Today in strict confidence that this realignment of security forces was required and was actually carried out ahead of that annual Amarnath pilgrimage, which begins on the 3rd of July. Security agencies are now planning to readjust the deployment of troops so that they are based closer to this valley, to the Bisaran Valley, and also secure the forest. Now remember, there are times when you secure the entry gate, but then there are times you're hit from behind, and it's happened with us. It's happened with us in Sanjuan, it's happened with us in Uri, it's happened with us in many different locations where one flank where you expect the terrorist or an intruder to come from, that's very well protected. But then there is a flank where you think the enemy will not come from. That's the place where the enemy strikes you. And I've reported from these instances from ground zero. So right now, every movement will be kept under check. There is massive redeployment that is being planned, and a plan of action is being put in place. It will, of course, require approval. But this was discussed in the meeting which was chaired by the Union Home Minister, Amit Shah. He's now back in Delhi. He will brief Prime Minister Narendra Modi. The final contours of this realignment, this realigned security grid in the Kashmir Valley will be finalized over the next couple of days. It's not just securing Pahalgam. It's actually trying to outthink these terrorists. The Amarnath Yatra sees massive civilian movement from across the country. And these Pakistani terrorists, incidentally, from what sources are telling India today, they were tasked to target the Amarnath Yatra. But suddenly, Pakistani terrorists got very desperate, or at least their handlers got very desperate, and they wanted to carry out a high visibility attack. We'll also discuss that during the course of this broadcast. I'll get you more on the story, but now the attempt is to have a more foolproof plan in place. Before I get you more, listen in to Defence Minister Rajnath Singh.
और हम सिर्फ उन लोगों तक नहीं पहुंचेंगे जिन्होंने इस घटना को अंजाम दिया है, हम उन तक भी पहुंचेंगे जिन्होंने पर्दे के पीछे बैठकर हिंदुस्तान की सरजमी पर ऐसी नापाक हरकतों की साजिशें रची हैं। भारत एक इतनी पुरानी सभ्यता और इतना बड़ा देश है जिसको ऐसे किसी भी आतंकी गतिविधियों से किसी भी सूरत में डराया नहीं जा सकता। ऐसी हरकतों का जिम्मेदार और इसके जिम्मेदार लोगों को आने वाले कुछ ही समय में जोरदार तरीके से नजर आएगा। मैं देशवासियों को आश्वस्त करना चाहता हूं। यहां मैं भारत के दृढ़ संकल्प को दोहराना चाहूंगा कि टेररिज्म के खिलाफ हमारी जीरो टॉलरेंस की पॉलिसी है। भारत का एक एक नागरिक इस कायरतापूर्ण हरकत के खिलाफ एकजुट है। मैं इस मंच से देशवासियों को आश्वस्त करता हूं, घटना के मद्देनजर भारत सरकार वो हर कदम उठाएगी जो जरूरी और उपयुक्त होगा।
Joining me on this special broadcast is Lieutenant General Arun Sahni, former Army Commander, someone who will tell us more about India's counter-terror operations and what India needs to do, the bigger picture, the higher direction of war. Also with me on this special broadcast are India Today's Mir Farid, joining us from Ground Zero in Pahalgam, and Piyush Mishra, joining us from 7 Lok Kalyan Marg, where the CCS will take place in a short while from now. Mir, you're on Ground Zero. Tell us more about this security realignment and these Pakistani terrorists and the local support apparently that they seem to enjoy. Tell us more about their plans to target the Amarnath Yatra.
Yes, Gaurav. In fact, if they have hit a tourist and in fact a civilian target, then obviously Yatris are also not safe. And as you rightly said, intelligences warn that they are here with the intent of hitting or targeting the Amarnath Yatra. And we know that Pahalgam is a major base of the Amarnath Yatra. Nunwan base camp is just 2 kilometers away from where I am. And this is one of the biggest base camps of the Yatra. And Amarnath Yatra, we know, is a massive security challenge. You have two big routes which are long, be it Baltal, Sonmarg side or Pahalgam, right up to Chandanwadi, and it requires a massive synergy between various belt forces, intelligences, and this time around, considering this attack, the challenge has certainly multiplied. And to meet that challenge, as you rightly said, there are certain plans that are being formulated. Already you have a security plan for the Amarnath Yatra, but considering the added threat, now it seems that more troops will be mobilized, there would be more area domination, vulnerable spots will be pointed out, sensitive locations will be taken care of, and more importantly, heights from where the Yatra will go. We know that yes, most of the stretch is mountainous, so heights will be occupied, and you will have forces like CRPF, ITBP, other belt forces coming together and ensuring the presence of troops on those sensitive locations and heights. So all that
so that's a tactical reactive policy. We also want to know, and perhaps Piyush, that is where the CCS plays a very critical role in the strategic vision on, yes, you may succeed in killing these terrorists, but killing just these 3, 4, 5 Pakistani terrorists or their local support, that's pruning leaves and branches of the terror tree with roots in Pakistan. So what do we expect from this very crucial CCS, Piyush?
Well, Gaurav, one thing is clear that government is going to hit hard, and very soon we will see the results. And that has also been, said by Defence Minister Rajnath Singh. He has said that we will not only reach out to people who are behind, who have perpetrated this, but also people who are sitting behind the scenes and have conspired against our motherland, India. But before that, let me also try to show you the visuals from right outside 7 LKM, where this meeting will take place in a short while from now at around 6 p.m. What we are hearing is that Prime Minister is going to chair the crucial Cabinet Committee on Security meeting, in which Union Defence Minister Rajnath Singh, Home Minister Amit Shah, along with him NSA Ajit Doval and other officials of Ministry of Home, Defence, from Raw Chief could also be there. So there are different leaders who will be part of this meeting, and this is a crucial meeting which is all set to take place in a few minutes from now. Remember that Prime Minister has cut short his visit of Saudi Arabia, and today in the morning he landed in Delhi. He directly, the moment he landed, he held a meeting there at the airport itself with NSA Ajit Doval, with Foreign Affairs Minister S. Shankar, and after that he has been holding series of meetings there at his residence. But yes, at 6 p.m. it's going to be very important to see as to what decision the government is going to take, as the Cabinet Committee on Security meeting is all set to take place at 6 minutes.
Stay with me. I want to bring in General Arun Sahni into this conversation. Sir, when you look at the entire spectrum of India's response to Pakistan's state-sponsored radical Islamist terror, how do you perceive what Raksha Mantri Rajnath Singh just said at Marshal of the Air Force Arjan Singh Memorial Lecture, when he said not just these terrorists, but even those who from behind the scenes were aiding and abetting them, there will be consequences for them? Or what's that effect, General?
Evening, Gaurav. Sorry, not really the best of time to come online with you, but I think what has happened has been extremely ghastly, has been perpetuated with a very, very sinister agenda to try and break the harmony in this country. This targeted killing of people because of religious thing is to fuel this communal divide that seems to be getting propagated by a lot of political mudslinging which happens, the Waqf bill that has happened now, and other activities. I think the answer that really lies in exactly what Mr. Rajnath Singh, our Defence Minister, stated. We will look at where this thing gets perpetuated. So any reaction that India has today has to hit the political establishment and the military hierarchy establishment that is behind this particular whole agenda. Right. I think the last time when we did go down and hit the terrorist camp, I think we need something else which is going to really hurt them hard, which actually is basically a shot below the belt to ensure that both the military standing as well as the political hierarchy there at the apex leadership finally wakes up. So I think that is carried in the message. Yeah.
So when we talk about hurting the real perpetrators of terror, and not just pruning the branches, cutting the leaves and then celebrating, because clearly you don't expect the government to set the bar low, do a low jump and then celebrate. If it's the Narendra Modi government that did Balakot in 2019 after Pulwama, in your appreciation, does it have to be a military response or even a non-military response will make the Pakistani military-jihad complex, the deep state, bleed? How does one make the deep state bleed, sir?
I think let's get it two things. A kinetic response has to be there. There has to be a visible response. The non-kinetic responses which you're talking about, which is happening in the international fora, whether it's on the economic, on other fronts, will continue. But I think what needs to be done, and I think the answer is very clear. We will respond, we will hit deep hard, we will hit where it hurts, but we will do it at the time and place of our own choosing. A reactive scenario is what is happening now, our tactical deployments, taking the necessary actions, fill up the voids that got created because of a larger action that had happened on our northern borders. I think we need to relook at, again, our our anti-terrorist grid within the valley. I think more importantly, I think when I look at the larger picture today, seeing what is happening in Bangladesh and the kind of statements that came out, the visit of the ISI chief to the area of Rangpur, Ashuganj, those areas, the exercises that are being done with the Chinese, the activity and the statement of Asif Munir just a few days back,
Yes.
where he talking about two-nation theory, highlighting the strength and support that their institution needs to give to the Muslims across in India. I think all together talk about a very, very deep agenda. And I think this time when we go in, I have no doubt there are enough plans that we have of hitting various places. But as I said, the time and place today of choosing, and I think the importance of the target that will be selected goes without stating that if the Prime Minister, the Finance Minister, if everybody cut short their visits, got back, you're going to have a Cabinet Committee of Security meeting. I think we should be very sure that there's going to be something which is much more. And I think with the kinetic response, there has to be a underlying agenda which needs to go in.
Oh,
I think
absolutely.
Sorry. Go ahead.
So the point I was trying to make was it cannot be symbolic. It has to be punitive. It has to be detrimental to their existence as a military that runs a country. And I want to understand from you, because they claim they're a nuclear weapon state, they're a Muslim country, and it's their ideology that's at stake. And Kashmir is their shehrag or juggler vein. And then they go into some kind of an Islamic rant that you heard coming out of Asif Munir. I mean, I've known generals like you, I've known generals in the Indian Army, and suddenly he sounds more like a zealot and some kind of a mullah, maulana, more of that and less of a four-star general. But I want to understand from you, it's a nuclear weapon state. There will be consequences. He will hit back, whatever we do. Are we on top of that escalation ladder? And if so, till what extent? Because some people who float that nuclear bogey, why is that nuclear bogey just that, a bogey?
Let me just put it like this, that today, when you're functioning at a sub-conventional level, I think there will be responses that we can do which do not really require that. I mean, grandstanding and making all this noise about nuclear capability, and we have those capability, that is fine. But please remember, as I think a lot of our nuclear assessments that have been done by some of our very, very learned nuclear academicians and strategic analysts, it talks about how at the end of the day of a nuclear war coming up, what might hit us maybe about 10%, 2 or 3 cities, but it will actually lead to the annihilation as far as Pakistan is concerned. So I don't think we should get too worried. Yes, we should be conscious. I think there is a need for us to start looking at defanging these nuclear capabilities. I think taking help of people like what the Mossad and what the Israelis talk about needs to be looked at quite seriously at our own level. And I'm sure by saying this, it doesn't mean that we aren't looking at it. And I'm sure there are ways that we are looking at with collaboration, without collaboration, with support, or individually. So I don't think we should get too worried about the bogey card as far as the nuclear bit is concerned in this particular scenario. What is required is hit hard, but then it has to be sustained. It can't be that after this we have like a Pulwama, we had the Balakot, and then again it went low. Yes, may I also state, there seems to have been, after the period of the way Kashmir was on the upward swing after the elections, and I think some very positive statements by the current government in power as well, along talking in harmony with the central government, seemed things were getting better. I think with the visiting of the President Vance coming in, with the kind of statements and activities Munir had made, maybe somewhere down the line, we should have also been a little more alert. But let me also put it in the right context. You cannot look after and have police deployed everywhere or the security forces everywhere. True. I think necessary security was done. It's a big nation. The terrorists will strike, but we now need to see after that there is a sustained effort to ensure that we keep hitting the establishment, not only just the terrorist camp across the range, which really makes no difference. It has to be from the fulcrum from where it is coming. And there are very big means which are available to the state to try and execute that. And I'm sure there'll be more. I may not be the right guy to share it in a public forum. What are the options? But yes, the state has many means by which to keep targeting and ensure that there's a sustained pressure.
Big point you're making. Sustained pressure. Keep targeting, not just one Balakot, because as the External Affairs Minister also put it very aptly, Pakistan we know the DNA of that country. It's a bigoted country. Their DNA is bigoted. The sooner we realize it, the sooner we we understand it, internalize it, forget this Aman Ki Asha. They don't want Aman Ki Asha with India. Isn't that a fact, General? And we'll talk about that in greater detail. When those who say, let's revive, let's make borders disappear, you will have another Murshidabad in our country from this time happening from Pakistan, the moment you make borders disappear. But I want to get us more details, and I want our viewers to see more details. General, stay with me. It's a chilling episode. These terrorists in Pahalgam, and perhaps this will help Indians understand the DNA of Pakistan better. They targeted tourists, they segregated them, and they identified them by their religion. Hindu ho, to mare jaoge. That was the message that these Pakistani terrorists have. If even after that, we think that Pakistan wants good ties with India, because if Pakistan wanted good ties with India, trust me, they would have dismantled the India-centric military-jihad complex. They would have hung Hafiz Muhammad Saeed by now. It's 17 years after 26/11. They would have hung that Maulana of terror called Masood Azhar. They still haven't done that. It just understand the DNA of that country. They are 50 shades of Hafiz Saeed. But may I, they found out if you're Muslim, you're permitted to go, except at one instance, one brave Kashmiri from Anantnag who was in the line of fire and made the supreme sacrifice of his life. But if you could recite the kalma, you were let off. If you couldn't recite the kalma, you were shot dead at point blank range. And wives were made to watch, children were made to watch as the husbands and fathers were killed in cold blood.
A chilling terror attack on tourists in the valley. Targeted firing in a popular tourist zone bustling with visitors, many of whom had gathered for photos in the scenic backdrop. Terrorists in Kashmir's Pahalgam targeted tourists on Tuesday after identifying them as non-Muslims. A heart-wrenching video of the incident surfaced online, showing tourists frantically calling out for help as dead bodies lying on the meadows can be seen in the video.
Okay, don't worry. You okay? You need a water, sir?
Victims could be heard saying that the attack was religiously motivated as terrorists shot tourists point blank after identifying them as Hindus. In a video that has gone viral, a grief-stricken woman is helplessly sitting beside her dead husband, Vinay Narwal, who was an Indian Navy officer. They were recently married and on their honeymoon in Kashmir. Narwal's wife Himanshi said that she was proud of her husband. Shubham Dwivedi, who had gone to Kashmir with his wife for a short vacation, was amongst the tourists killed in the attack. The two had got married just 2 months ago. The terrorist asked if the couple were Muslim and demanded they recite the Kalma, an Islamic declaration of faith.
जब मेरी भाभी से बात हुई तब उन्होंने मुझे बताया कि शुभम को गोली मार दी है और सर के पास गोली मार दी है। उनसे कहा था कि हम आपको इसलिए जिंदा छोड़ रहे हैं ताकि आप जाकर के अपनी सरकार को बता सकें कि हमने आपके साथ क्या किया।
Another victim, Santosh Jagdale, a businessman from Pune, was among those shot and killed. His daughter, Asavari Jagdale, described how the terrorists specifically targeted male tourists after demanding they identify their religion.
फायरिंग करते टाइम उन लोगों ने जितने भी हिंदू लोग थे उनको पकड़ के धमकी दिया कि आप अजान पढ़ो और नहीं पढ़ोगे तो उनको गोलियां मार दी। तो उसमें मेरे पापा मतलब मेरे पिताजी थे और मेरे चाचा थे, उन दोनों को भी उन लोगों ने गोलियां मारी।
Asavari, her mother and another female relative were spared by the attackers. 32-year-old Neeraj Udvani from Jaipur was asked to show his ID card, after which he was shot dead. Neeraj's wife, Ayushi Udvani, was in the hotel when the tourists struck on Tuesday. His mother has been inconsolable.
बहुत गलत हुआ है और इसकी उचित कार्रवाई सरकार करेगी और हमारी भी सरकार से यही रिक्वेस्ट है, जैसे ये दूसरों के घर उजाड़ रहे हैं तो उनको सख्त से सख्त सजा मिले, जो इनके भी आगे मतलब हौसले बुलंद ना हो.
47-year-old Manjunath from Karnataka's Shivamogga was on a holiday with his wife Pallavi. This was one of their last moments together, enjoying a shikara boat ride in Srinagar. In another video that has gone viral, a group of tourists can be seen pleading for help, which arrived long after their tormentors had fled the scene.
हम लोग फौज हैं, हम लोग बैठो हम लोग फौज हैं, बैठो अरे हम लोग फौजी हैं, कुछ नहीं करेंगे, आपकी सेफ्टी के लिए आए हैं, आपकी सेफ्टी के लिए आए हैं, बैठो.
Helyang, a resident of Tajang village in lower Subansiri district, was visiting Pahalgam with his newly wed wife when the attack occurred. According to sources, Helyang was questioned about his religion and stripped at gunpoint before discovering his IAF identity card. Upon confirming his affiliation with the armed forces, they shot him dead in front of his wife.
ये बहुत ही शॉकिंग ये हादसा है, हमारा ये देशवासी के लिए है और स्पेशली हमारा ये मेरा ये अपना भाई के लिए. कल हम सब पूरा एकदम से सदमा में रह गया अचानक.
This is my country which is bleeding today, from Arunachal Pradesh to Gujarat, from Kashmir to Kerala, Tamil Nadu, Karnataka, Maharashtra, Madhya Pradesh, Uttar Pradesh, Gujarat. How many states do we name where we've lost Indians? 15 states we've lost people, fellow Indians, to this radical Islamist terror. What are India's options? What can India do? I have two of the finest military minds with me on this special broadcast. Lieutenant General Arun Sani, former Army commander, stays with me on this special broadcast. Also with me on this special broadcast is Lieutenant General Consul Himalay Singh. He comes from Manipur. And again, this shows you the power of our country, that we are such a vast country. From some of our finest military minds with me, General Singh, let me ask you, what are India's options in such a situation? After Pulwama, India did Balakot. Clearly, that wasn't enough for Pakistan's military-jihad complex to stop terror in India.
Thank you for having me here, and particularly with General Sani. He's a well-wisher of mine, and so am I. I really, options are usually not discussed in TV channels, but we can talk broadly about what should be the approach.
Yes.
What should be the approach? Normal people, most people will like to see some kind of a kinetic action against the terrorists and their sponsors. That is what people wish to see. But there is an angle to it, that any kind of a response, has to be based on hard realities on the ground with all the instruments of the state.
Yes.
Military being the main instrument, that there is no denying that military will give the options which are generally available at all times for such an eventuality. And when the military options are given to the highest decision-making body, that is the CCS, and keeping in mind the other instruments, how is it we are going to channelize and how is going to play out what is the escalation metrics going to be? Are we in a position to control the escalation? All that factors will be discussed.
And in your appreciation, are we on top of the escalation ladder? Because many skeptics argue, fine, we did Balakot, but next day they did an Operation Swift Retort, and Wing Commander, now Group Captain Abhinandan, was taken prisoner when his aging MiG-21 was shot down. Of course, after he'd shot down a Pakistan Air Force F-16, and then there was no further action. So are we on top of the escalation ladder?
See, that escalation ladder, as we go up into the realm of any escalation can go very quickly into the realm of war. So that is something that it's a political call based on the inputs given by all these instruments and particularly from the military.
But so is Pakistan, I really want to figure out, I want to take it out of the academic realm. Is Pakistan in a position to go up that escalation ladder given its state of finances, General Sahni? We know its state of penury. We are told, one of their generals had gone on record that they have barely enough men and material, money for diesel in their automobiles to have a sustained war. We are told that they had withdrawn 2 divisions from the India-Pakistan LC to deploy it on the AFPAC border. Does that not give India an opportunity to exercise an option and deter Pakistan from any escalation? And anyways, I want to understand, is Pakistan in a position to escalate in your appreciation?
Gaurav, I think an absolute relevant question. Let me just put it like this. I think India and the Indian military establishment is very much in hand with the escalatory continuum. We have the capacity. Where I think the gravity of this situation is, I think the political hierarchy today at the CCS will identify the targets, and I think they're willing to go to war. And I think the military is willing to go to war if that is what it ends up in, if it goes beyond a particular stage of mind. So I don't think we need to worry too much on the fact, do we have the capability? Yes. Are we on the escalatory continuum? Do we have a handle on it? Yes, we have the capability. The capability of the Pakistan forces, is it weak? Yes, it is weak, but there is a lot that they can still do. Yes. And I think we'll be able to find out the methodology of being able to deal with it. What is more important in the non-kinetic plane? Please see that over 30 to 40% of economic institutions there are a handle on which the deep state is thriving. That's how all military officers who retire from there have got their beautiful dachas and beautiful bungalows sitting in, whether it's Dubai, whether it's in UAE, or whether it is in the hill stations out there. I think that economic institutions need to be targeted, which actually are being supported and are supporting the military. That should be in the economic plane. How we do it, there are many means to do it. And I think KH was absolutely right. We have colleagues from the army go down to NDA. I think he's right. We cannot discuss those. But yes, there are means by which we hit them. So let's hit the economic corner. We are ahead on the escalatory continuum. We should be prepared to go to war. If that is, as I say, a push comes to shove, yes. Whether he will have the gumption to raise it, I think what you raised was correct. He doesn't have the capability at this stage. If he does, he's asking for trouble as far as he is himself concerned.
Oh, absolutely. And I've learned all that I have from, from you, from generals like you, but being on the beat for the past 3 decades, I want to understand. And I want to understand that Pakistani mind through you. Pakistani mind is that of a bully. You step back, he will move forward. You buckle, you accommodate him, he will bully you. But the moment you slap him hard, wherever you do it, whatever way you do it, the moment you dhap him, he begs you for cover. He will then come and hit you some other way. He will come and do it some other way, some other time. But that time he runs away from battle. That is the Pakistani general's mind. He's very scared to fight a war in most of their soldiers may be brave, but their generals are timid. General Himalay Singh, is that an, given past track record, given past history, given the way, each time from brass tacks till date, and, General Sahni, you're an armored corps officer, the way, Ziaul Haq came running to India, the way Pakistani generals or the way Musharraf came to India, each time India shows them our might. Don't they step back, General Himalay Singh, or is my appreciation wrong?
No, your appreciation is right. The only thing the only thing I wish to say here is that it's a political call. We have the capacity, we have the capability to actually get into that on top of the escalatory ladder, that what you are saying. We have the capacity. And it is the cost. You know, how much is the cost benefit and all that has to be. But I agree with your point that when this comes to the integrity of our country and, bleeding us through 1,000 cuts, that kind of a thing, then the cost has to be borne by the nation.
Okay.
I mean, we have prepared for escalatory ladder. That's all.
Stay with me for a moment. So the Cabinet Committee on Security is to begin shortly. Union Home Minister Amit Shah is en route the 7 Lok Kalyan Marg of Prime Minister Narendra Modi, where the Cabinet Committee on Security is to begin in a short while from now. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh, External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar, Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman, Defence Secretary. We are told there are several secretaries who are also likely to be either in that room for that meeting or will be called in when inputs are needed. And I want to bring in Piyush Mishra once again for the latest inputs that are coming in. Piyush, what more can you tell us? The meeting's just set to begin. I believe inputs have been called from the armed forces, from the intelligence agencies. Bring us the latest, Piyush.
Well, absolutely, Gaurav. In short while from now, the meeting of a Cabinet Committee on Security to begin. For that, the members of this crucial decision-making body have already started arriving. I would ask my video journalist to show you the visuals of a convoy which is now parking right there at the parking, which is right next to 7 Lok Kalyan Marg. So we can see the vehicles also who have started trickling in. What we are now given to understand is that Home Minister Amit Shah, along with Defence Minister Rajnath Singh and other officials who have to take part in this meeting, they will reach here. And this place, which is right there on your television screen, the entry gate of 7 Lok Kalyan Marg, is going to be the most buzzing place in the next 1 to 2 hours. And after that, the kind of message which has been sent out by Rajnath Singh could also be implemented. A decision could be taken by the Cabinet Committee of Security. Remember that it is being chaired by PM Narendra Modi, in which the other members are Minister of External Affairs S. Jaishankar, Home Minister Amit Shah, Defence Minister Rajnath Singh, Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman. They are the core members who are part of this, and depending on the severity of an issue, others could also be invited. So what we are told is that the chiefs of intelligence agencies, including IB, RAW, even they could also be the part of this crucial meeting, which is all set to begin in few minutes from now. Before that, we are already seeing as to how the vehicles have already started entering inside 7 Lok Kalyan Marg. As Home Minister Amit Shah has already left from his residence, we are told is that Defence Minister has reached here. Rajnath Singh has entered inside at 7 Lok Kalyan Marg, and so is Home Minister Amit Shah. So in few minutes from now, this meeting will begin, Gaurav, and then after that we can expect some sort of decision taken by this highest decision-making body on security things.
The Defence Minister has already reached 7 Lok Kalyan Marg. The Defence Minister had a detailed briefing with the 3 service chiefs. He was briefed by the Army Chief, the Navy Chief and the Air Chief. What we are also being told is various contingencies are being war-gamed. And Piyush, you've also been speaking to your sources in the Ministry of Home Affairs. I want to understand from you, there are 2 aspects to this. One is an external aspect, the other is the internal aspect. When you talk about conflict, you also have to ensure your flanks are well covered, and not just in Jammu and Kashmir. What is the assessment on internal security?
Well, as far as the internal security is concerned, Gaurav, we saw as to how Home Minister Amit Shah held crucial meetings here. He went there, he met with bereaved families, he interacted with officials there, and he has been updated about each and every development. And now, as Amit Shah is here at 7 Lok Kalyan Marg, is going to brief Prime Minister about the current situation, the updated situation there in Jammu and Kashmir. So it's going to be very important to see as to to what Amit Shah briefs to Prime Minister and how the Cabinet Committee on Security further moves. But yes, it is very much important that there are some questions those have been raised after this attack. The local intelligence failure is also what is being said by various people. So there are different aspects on which the discussions will take place. And what is more important is that the attack took place when US Vice President J.D. Vance was on his 4-day visit to India. So looking at the severity of this situation, this meeting has been called in. Prime Minister Narendra Modi had to cut short his Saudi Arabia visit. He today in the morning landed at Paran Technical Airport, and the moment he landed, he was briefed by NSA Ajit Doval, External Affairs Minister Jai Shankar, and after that we are already seeing Home Minister Amit Shah arriving from Jammu and Kashmir, and certainly he is going to tell Prime Minister about the current situation. We'll have to see how the government is now going to move ahead, and I look forward to give the Karara Jawab which has already been promised by Defence Minister Rajnath Singh.
General Sahni, in your appreciation, the Karara Jawab that is being talked about, if I were to quote Raksha Mantri Rajnath Singh, Defence Minister Rajnath Singh, at the Marshal of the Air Force Arjun Singh Memorial Lecture, he said, "Zordar tarike se," जिसने उसको जोरदार जवाब मिलेगा. Not just those who were involved in the terror attack, General Sahni, but also those who were behind the scenes, पर्दे के पीछे बैठकर जिन्होंने इस हमले की साजिश रची, उनको भी जवाब दिया जाएगा. What does this mean in your appreciation, sir?
So I think, let me just put it, there will be a kinetic response. The target that would be selected for this kinetic response will be high profile, and I feel at this stage it would be something which will actually hurt the political and the military establishment. It has to be such, hitting some of these minor terrorist camps here across the launching pads, etc., is par for the game. I don't think that should be really talked about. So it's going to be there. The second issue, when he talked about the perpetuators of this crime, which we all know as the deep state, that means there are going to be plans, as I said, whether we are looking at economic targets, whether we are looking at targeting them at different fronts through the different instruments of national power, that will take place. So a sustained effort, which is what I talked about, seems to be on the card, because hitting the perpetuators is not a one-off shot. It is a shot which has to be a sustained over a period of time.
Yes.
It has to be continuum. So you will find activities which will happen in the visible, the tactical, operational and strategic realm. You will find actions that will happen in the other space, which is the non-kinetic space, where you will see things being done to these people whom most of us know who are the perpetrators of those crimes, which are the institutions which are supporting it, which are the hubs that are supporting it, whether, as he said, that there is one retired Pak soldier who was part of this terrorist foursome.
Asif Fauji, yes.
So I think we know where the shoe bites. I'm sure we'll make it pinch this time and let it keep pinching till they wake up to the reality of life.
Okay, stay with me, Generals. General Himalay Singh and General Sahni, stay with me as we discuss India's kinetic and non-kinetic options and responses. Because remember, Pakistan's military jihad complex, for decades, it's followed a sustained policy of bleeding India through 1,000 cuts. Whether it was sending in raiders in 1947, and let me not go back to 1947, 1993 Mumbai serial blast, 257 killed. We wanted Aman Ki Asha, we wanted talks with Pakistan. We think dialogue with Pakistan or strengthening democracy in Pakistan will keep India safer. There is a democratic government right now, or a hybrid government in Pakistan. Are we safer? 2006, 200 people were killed in the Mumbai train blast. 2008, 2611, 166 massacred. Ahmedabad blast, 57 massacred. Jaipur blast, Raghunath temple, Akshardham temple. So many temples have been targeted in our country. And even now, Pathankot, Pulwama, Prime Minister Narendra Modi attempted to have good relations with Pakistan. They don't want good relations with you. It's a deep state born out of hate, and you have to know the enemy's mind. Just read General Asim Munir's mind. How he hates Hindus, how he hates India, and he's made that very clear on more occasions than one. He is what personifies Pakistan. A quick break. I'll be back with lots more, and we shall take this to its logical conclusion, because India and Indians have to be kept safe from Pakistan state-sponsored radical Islamist terror. Aman ki Asha or no Aman ki Asha, borders or no borders, Pakistan has to bleed for bleeding India, and bleed more so that it stops bleeding India.